Well, we're back here with this little experimental thing I was doing. I did the bottom end, didn't record too much of it or video too much of it. I come to realize I talk too much. So I'm going to have to do some real cutting and splicing to get all this. But I did get the bottom of the box, and I wanted to kind of bring you up to speed so you can see what's going on here, what I've got done so far. If you can see that, which I hope you can, this is of course the bottom. This is where the box comes apart, and this is the top half, and I used it for a clamp on the lathe here. What I did is I went and hollowed the box out just a little, I don't know, maybe it's a 64th of an inch or so bigger. Well, the hole's smaller than this hole is here. I chucked this up in the lathe and I turned this down really thin. There's just enough meat there to hold the threads on. And then I left a tenon on the bottom. I took the threads off of about a 1/4 inch of it. And I put a recess, cut a recess back in the edge here of this block that forms the bottom of the box. So then I came to a dilemma. What do I use for glue? This is PVC, and I know they make a PVC adhesive. Of course, about everybody that's ever been around any plumbing things knows that PVC adhesive is a little different than most things. And there's some that's called wet and dry, some that's called hot, and then there's just the normal old PVC. And then they recommend that you prime it before you glue it. Back in the old days, I'm talking 25 years ago, we used to have to sand the joints, not sand them to make them fit, but sand them to rough them so that the adhesive would have some place to glue. So I was kind of in a dilemma what to do for adhesive here. I know PVC is not, polyvinyl chloride is not the same material as Alumilite or some other pen blank. And I also know it's not the same material as non-stick bushings are made out of, but it is a petroleum-based material. So what I did here is yesterday, I got this all made and got it all fit in, is I used thick CA and run a ridge around the inside of this recess and put this in and twisted it, took the top of the box and used it to keep it square and used the tailstock to hold it. So this is where we're at. We got the threads in the bottom here, and we're gonna go from there today, and hopefully I'll be able to get a little video, and I'm gonna have to. Okay, this is the threaded cap that matches up to the threads on here. This was the pipe nipple or plug. I happened to pick up a plug, and it screws into here. This, well, it was made to, so it screws in real good. So now we need to get this, as you probably can't see, but anyway, this thing is about a 1/4 inch thick, and it has these ridges here that was made to grab onto a spanner wrench and tighten this down. So we are going to take a tool of some sort, and the reason I say some sort is I have never done this before, and I've never put PVC up in a lathe, and I don't really know what's going to happen. So we're going to turn this thing and try to get this thing turned down thin enough to utilize for the external threads and or internal threads, the female part, and get them to where they can be embedded in this lid of this box we're working on. So I'm going to take time here and just to err on the side of caution, I'm going to put on a full face shield. because I don't really want to necessarily pick out plastic from the side of my head or out of my eyeball. Don't know that that'll happen, but it could. Now what I'm doing here is checking, making sure, because this stuff is really slick, slippery on the outside. I was making sure I was backing the chuck really tight, because the only thing I got a hold of is about 3/8 of an inch of this cap. Running true, holding good, and we're going at it real slow here. And what I've got is a little 1/2 inch old skew I'm working with, more or less like a scraper. So we'll carry on here very gingerly and see how it goes. Observation here, stop. I have to quit talking, cut down the video length, but seems like there's a hard skin on the outside of this stuff. And once you get through it, it cuts really soft, and as you can see, it puts out some pretty good stringers. Well, we're getting close here. We're getting close here to the thickness we need. I'm going to take a little bit more off of it. But it cuts really good. I mean, Lord knows what's going to happen when we get glued up, but it does cut. So we've taken probably an 1/8 inch off the wall thickness of this and got it down to where it's usable. So then what I got to do is get it all squared up, make sure it's good and square, and get it smoothed up, and then cut enough threads off to cover the male threads that I have extended from the box. So when we get that all done and get it cut off, I'll come back with you again. Well, okay, now first off, I need to learn a little bit more about editing the YouTube videos. I need to be able to get them the right size so everybody out there doesn't fall asleep and get bored to freaking tears watching what I'm doing. But what I've done off camera here is I've made the lid, I've hollowed it out, it's got a tenon back here, it's in a chuck, and I've cut a recess in here that will accept this ring of threads that came off of that cap. So this fits back in snugly in here, like so. And it's a little bit below the surface of the wood, so that, well, it looks good. So, if I can get this back out of here, and I got it a snug fit, what I've ended up determining is I'm going to use thick CA again, and we're going to hope that it all holds together. So I'm going to leave this on the lathe. I got a rag down here on the lathe bed to keep from gluing my lathe in some fashion that's not what I want. Actually, I don't like the glue all over the place. It's just not good. And I'm going to put a pretty good bead in here, not like I'm trying to flood an area of some kind. And I want to try to keep the goobers off the outside. And I'm going to take my little ring I made, and I'm going to kind of twist that as I stick it in this hole here. Just a little bit. And then force it back in. Then I'm going to take my threaded piece, other threaded piece, I'm going to put it in the threads, but I'm not going to bring it up tight to the other piece of the box. I'm going to leave a little gap in here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to run my tailstock up and put just a little bit of pressure on there. Now, theory is that if I bend this a little bit, make sure everything is centered up here, my theory is that once this CA sets up, with this in the threads, pushing it into the cap, this wood should match up with this wood once it's screwed in tightly. And if it doesn't, I have the option of a little trimming on this end. So we're going to walk away from this for about a half hour and make sure that everything is dried up and cured real well, and we'll be back and see how this thing came out. Thank you. Well, I had to cut a bunch of stuff out and then just quit recording because this video was going to be about as long as Gone with the Wind, and that wasn't any good. So the box is done. Let me turn this camera around and I'll show you what we got. This is it. It's I really don't know, never measured it. It is 3 3/4 inches tall, and outside wise is 2 3/4 inches wide. So that's the box, and I did put a little bit of friction polish on the outside of it, just, you know, well, why not, right? However, the lid unscrews. And there are the threads from the PVC pipe. This is all the same height in here. I did not finish the inside. And the reason is I want to put this thing in service where it gets, my wife and I still use wooden kitchen matches to do things with in the kitchen, you know, like the gas stove and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to use it. I'll probably put cardboard or newspaper or something in the bottom here so the matches stick above board. But I'm going to put this in service where this lid is screwed on and unscrewed multiple times a day. And I want to see if we do indeed have any kind of separation, because, let me see if I can get this close enough where you can see it. Right there, this part of the PVC joint is setting on a ledge there, and it's from there to where the threads start out here that is glued in with the CA glue. So there's two glue points there, and it's the same on the lid. The lid has this, where this thing meets the lid here, right there. It's setting, these threads are setting on a ledge, and then of course it's glued to this outside here. So there's 2 points of contact, and of course it was roughed up pretty good from being sanded and cut on the lathe, you know, with lathe tools. So there you have it, a threaded box without threading tools. Now, was it something I'd do again? Sure it is. If I got a demand for 2 dozen lidded boxes tomorrow, would I go down and buy 2 dozen threaded caps and unions? Well, no. I would probably buy the threading tools. But this is a way, not the best way, probably not the prescribed way, and time will tell if it's going to be very durable. But there is other ways to get threads on a lid, box lid. So I just wanted to do this for you, and wanted to try it, and I thought I'd put it on video. And I'm going to leave it at that, because this video is going to be too long as it is. But there it is. Remember, you're only limited by your imagination of what you can do. So go out to the shop and do something. Hey, thanks for watching.